Assalamu alaikum listeners. Welcome back into the another episode of True Ghost Tales. I am your host Namra. I hope you are all doing well. You can also share your true horror experience with me at my given WhatsApp number in the description box. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's move towards this story. Imagine being stuck on a path next to a graveyard with no light and no one around, just silence and darkness. And then you start hearing strange sounds. What would you do? Today, we have Salman from Karachi, a businessman who is here to share his experience. This story is basically from 10 years ago. So, in October 2014, at that time, Salman was selling vegetables. He would finish his work and be free by midnight. His route home passed through a graveyard, which was always frightening. The path was eerie, quiet, and lonely, especially at night. Every time Salman approached the graveyard, he felt a strange unease and fear, as if someone was following him. He always tried to get through that stretch as quickly as possible, but he had no other route and had to pass through there every night. Poor Salman. One night, as Salman reached the graveyard with his vegetable cart, he noticed something very unusual. Although the cart was usually light after selling the vegetables, but tonight it felt unusually heavy. Even though the vegetables had been sold and the cart should have been lighter, it seemed like the weight had suddenly increased, making it difficult for Salman to push the cart. He stopped in the middle of the path to check, but there was no visible problem with the cart. He looked around for help but found no one. In this dark night, Salman was completely alone on this desolate path, and his fear grew even more. After some time, he began hearing the sound of someone's crying. When he noticed, it was the woman's voice. The crying seemed to come from the same area where he was standing with his cart. The sound was even more frightening in the eerie silence of the graveyard. Salman looked around but couldn't see anyone. It became clear that the crying was coming from some other entity, not a living person. In this intense fear, Salman thought about abandoning the cart and running away, but unfortunately, he couldn't do that because the cart was his source of livelihood. In this terrified state, he began reciting prayers he remembered. Miraculously, the crying stopped soon after and the cart felt light again. Salman quickly pushed his cart out of the graveyard path and never sold vegetables in that area again. After that night, Salman convinced himself that it's wise to avoid paths near graveyards, as they are likely to be inhabited by otherworldly beings, maybe some spirits. Okay, that's all for today now. So that was Salman's true horror story. I hope you found it interesting. For more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Allah Hafiz.